In my Minecraft world, I already have a fully automatic source of food, this fish farm. And I've had this fish farm too, but with the most recent change to clay pots, this fish farm's broken now. I've also had this animal farm, which is now empty. Where'd they all go? And I've got this crop farm, not automated, but definitely a good source of food. So today, on the Bedrock Guide, I'm going to build an insanely large barn, just so I can put a tiny but fully automatic chicken cooker inside of it. Oh, and these guys are gonna live in there too. I can't say that I've ever done this in a world that I've put out on YouTube before, but I'm gonna tear down one of my earliest builds. It's gone. This whole thing has served its purpose, and it's a similar design to the crop farm, so I don't feel like I'm gonna be missing out on having something like this in the world for nostalgia's sake. But oh my, do I have big plans. Well, there you have it. There's no going back now. And all there's left to do is build this brand new amazing barn. So first I'm gonna take one water bottle and splash it on one piece of dirt and do that about 1,000,000 times. And then I'm gonna take every single piece of mud and combine it with one piece of wheat each to create packed mud. And then filling the 2x2 grid in my inventory, I'm going to combine packed mud to create mud bricks. I've already done a lot of this ahead of time, but I imagine we're gonna have to do it again. I've got enough resources to get started, so I'm gonna start by building the perimeter of the barn, leaving gaps for the windows and walls where I know that they're gonna go. It's not a bad idea to pre-build something like this in a testing world, especially if you're using things like mud or mangrove wood, which coincidentally enough, I'm using both because I like to torture myself for something. But either way, if you build it in a testing world first, you're less likely to waste time and resources because you already know what the end result is gonna be. In addition to the foundational perimeter, I'm also going to build the pillars that will outline the windows and determine the shape and height of the roof. The entire time that I'm building basically the bones of the house, I'm gonna make sure to alternate between the packed mud and mud bricks to offer a variety of textures, just so it doesn't look so flat. What to say about this next resource? It's the most annoying tree in the entire game to mine, but thankfully I was lucky enough to run across a wandering trader in one of the live streams where I was planning this build, and he had a mangrove propagule for sale. I didn't have to go find a swamp. I could do all of my tree chopping here at home. Mud and mangrove together? What am I doing to myself? But I guess it's all worth it because this combination is really cool. So with the bones of the barn completely finished, I'm gonna go around the entire inside of the barn with the mangrove wood, leaving gaps for doorways, but this should start providing some of the final shape. Now that the exterior pillars and walls are done, I'm gonna start divvying up the interior. It's gonna be pretty much an open concept barn, but I will divide it up into individual stalls for all of the individual animal types that are gonna live in here. The entrance to every stall will have an arched doorway made of mud bricks, and they will be divided by mangrove fences and fence gates, which will also keep all of the animals, except for the camels, in their individual stalls. On one side of the barn, the animal stalls will actually have an exit to the outside as well, which will eventually lead to an open pasture where they might be able to roam free. Taking a quick break from the interior, I'm gonna move back out to the exterior and build the roof. For the roof line, I'm gonna go with the acacia logs because they've got a really neutral, nice gray that contrasts well with the brown and red of the mud and mangrove. It'll also provide some separation for our actual roof blocks that we're gonna use, which we'll get to in just a moment. In addition to the acacia logs, I'm also going to use stone brick and andesite walls because they'll provide a variety of texture and also smooth out the harsh transition between the wall and the roof. It'll basically mask some of that so it looks a little bit better. I'm also going to build a vertical border for the roof line that is made out of the acacia logs as well. Originally, this was only going to be a 1-block wide column, but as I was tinkering with it in my testing world, I actually liked 2 blocks better. This is a rather large build, so having a little bit thicker of a border can give a little bit more believability to the size of the roof. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty good. To fill in the roof, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. We're going to start out with some moss blocks. And then I'll go back and occasionally put in a piece of mossy cobble here and there, again, just to provide some texture variation. We definitely don't want any part of this build to look too flat. Next, I'm gonna go to my fish farm and grab some ink sacs and bones. And then I'm gonna convert those ink sacs and bones into light gray dye. And with that dye, I'm gonna craft light gray stained glass and then convert it into panes. These light gray stained glass panes are gonna be used to fill in all of the gaps on the front and back of the barn to make some really cool windows that go from floor to ceiling. Now that the roof is on, it's a little bit too dark inside, so I'm going to install these lanterns to provide light throughout the barn. Next, I'm going to take some mangrove doors and combine them with mangrove trapdoors to design a really unique looking barn door. Not gonna lie, this is one of my favorite parts of the whole build, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to tear it all down and do it again, because as I normally do, I got ahead of myself and forgot that you can't convert grass that has something sitting on top of it into path blocks. So I'm gonna convert as much of this as I can first, rip all the doors out, and do it all over again. One of the last few things that I need to do is put in some structural support on the inside, because if a barn was built like this without any supports, the roof would just collapse and it wouldn't be much of a barn anymore. While the floor might be pretty well lit, the ceiling is a little bit dark. To take care of that problem, I'm going to build a cool looking chandelier, as all barns have, obviously. But hey, this is a BluJay barn. It's definitely gonna be cool. With the interior pretty much wrapped up, I've realized I might have missed a few details on the outside, so we're popping back out there. Similar to how I mixed up packed mud with mud bricks, I'm gonna take a few stripped mangrove logs and mix them in with the mangrove planks. Again, all of this texturing is to make it so that the build is not so flat. Depth and detail are your friends. A last bit of detailing for the roof, I'm gonna add some mangrove fences, but I'm not gonna overdo it. Less is more. And I don't know about you, but I think that's the perfect amount. And just like that, the barn is finished and all the animals are gone except the chickens. I took the time to move them all over here, and I got a secret over there that I want to show you here shortly as well, but we got the pigs and some horses, a few donkeys and a mule, the camels, which I had to specially trap in here because they can just step right over fences. I mean, look how tall they are. Our friendly neighborhood strider, who I need to put some lava in here for. I've got fire tick turned off, so this isn't gonna burn down. Maybe I'll make him a little bit more comfortable if this is gonna be his permanent home. And last but not least, I got the llamas just chilling over here. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, these stalls on this side of the barn lead to the outside where there's an open pasture that other animals can roam. I've got my sheep, my cows, and a few more horses that I found, some of which are really fast and can jump really high. I think it might be this guy. Does he have a good jump? Nope, it's not him. Is it this one? Nope, it's not him. What about you? Oh, yes, it's him. Look at this. This horse can jump on top of my barn. Absolutely nuts. I mean, can you blame him? Look at this view. And while it's nice that we built all of these guys a place to live, that's not really the point of today's video. It was just the place that we're gonna store the point of today's video. And that's gonna go somewhere up here on top of one of these stalls. Let's actually get to building the chicken farm. I've gone ahead and built a small staircase with a platform at the top, but I left it completely open except for this little test model here about how high I think the chicken farm should go based on where the storage is gonna be. And so I think I'm gonna start right back here. And on this little platform that I've built, I'm gonna place a dispenser facing that direction so that it fires the eggs out that way. And then out of the back of the dispenser, I'm gonna place one comparator followed by a repeater with redstone dust, redstone dust, redstone dust, so that that redstone is going into that comparator. And then on the opposite side, redstone dust, and a repeater into a solid block. And basically what this circuit is going to do is it's going to detect anytime there are items in that dispenser, and it will loop the signal until it spits out every item that's in there. Out of the side of this dispenser, I'm going to place one hopper right here, followed by another hopper and another several hoppers. And on top of these hoppers is where our chickens are going to sit and lay eggs. More on that here shortly. When the eggs get fired out of the dispenser, they need somewhere to hatch the chickens. And so in front of this dispenser, I'm going to place one slab. And then I'm gonna completely surround this in solid blocks. And I'll close this off here in just a minute, but before I do, I wanna build out the storage system, which is going to be very basic. No sorting, nothing crazy. I'm just gonna take a temporary block here and have a hopper facing that direction. And then I'm gonna count 1, 2, 3 blocks away from the chicken farm. And on that third block, I'm going to put a line of barrels, followed by hoppers directly out of the back. And then some more hoppers directly out of the back of that. You don't have to go this far with the hoppers, but I'm going to for aesthetic purposes, which I'll show you here in a moment. But then I'm just gonna place one hopper right here, facing downward, and then a hopper line across the top, facing directly toward this hopper. And then I'll break the initial hopper, and then we'll just feed it right back to where it was to begin with. So now, anytime a chicken dies on this platform right here, it will drop the items, which will get pulled through the floor into the hopper below. And because of the way that hoppers work, it will funnel all of the items down before it pushes them across, so that all items will end up here first. And once this line is filled up, it will fill on up the rest of these barrels. From here, I'm gonna take a couple of pieces of glass so that we can see the chickens when they get fired out, and then I'll just fill in all of the corners. You definitely don't want any chickens escaping, especially if this thing starts getting full, and the best way to prevent that is to cover the corners. The last thing I need to do for this farm before we start loading it with chickens is to drop the lava right here, and because we put a slab right there, this lava is never gonna go down, and baby chickens are small enough that their heads won't reach that lava until they grow into adults. And from there, the rest is history, and we're gonna end up with a bunch of cooked chicken without having to toggle this lava on and off. And this kind of looks pretty ugly right now. We're gonna have to do a little bit of decorating with it, but that's something I'll probably do off camera. I've done a lot of decorating for you guys today. How did I miss this? I completely missed a whole section of windows. Gonna have to fix that too. Okay, I've got one seed, and I'm gonna lure the 4 or so chickens that I have over here into the farm, which then I can tear this temporary thing down. Come on, guys, let's go to your new home. I promise you're gonna love it. Probably. Maybe. You're basically just ones and zeros on a screen, so you don't care anyway. Come on. Up we go. Up we go. Welcome home, chickens. I'm gonna go ahead and drop a fence here so you're trapped. And now, I'll probably just leave the other 2 out there to roam free. That's all right. I'm gonna toss all of the eggs that I have available and hopefully get some more chickens. And if I don't feel satisfied with the number of chickens that are in here after I toss all of these eggs, I may convert this into an egg farm for a short time until this thing is fully packed with chickens. Just be careful doing something like this on a server if you're playing with other people. You start packing a bunch of mobs into a small space like this, it might cause some lag, which your server mates might not appreciate. But this is a solo world. I can do whatever I want. So this chicken farm is up and running. It will work as it is, and it will get more efficient as those baby chickens grow into adult chickens and start laying eggs. But I think we could do better. So for now, I'm just gonna disable the launching mechanism, and I'm gonna put a hopper directly underneath it so that when they lay the eggs, they're just gonna go straight into the storage system as eggs rather than launching into the lava pool. Well, I'd say that's enough. There are so many chickens packed into there. I don't know how many there are. I lost track, but it's a lot. And as you can hear, the dispenser is firing off on all cylinders. A couple of quick notes about the farm. I originally had a fence here and I replaced it with a piece of glass just so I could see inside and see that all the chickens are happy. Because happy chickens are hardworking chickens and laying tons of eggs for us so we can get some cooked chicken down there. I've also got a line of slabs running across the top here so that they can't jump up and get out. But if I need to, I can always throw in some more eggs and hatch some more chickens. I'm definitely not going to be doing that right now because it's working pretty efficiently. And as you can see, I've already got a ton of baby chickens in here waiting to grow up into cooked chickens because that's what baby chickens grow into, right? I've also made it look like a little bit of a chicken coop with a slanted roof and also some random design down here, but it just basically serves as a staircase that I can get back up here and throw in eggs and feed the chickens if I want to. And after a little bit of time, look at that. I've already got over a stack and a half, almost 2 stacks of cooked chicken. And the great thing about this farm is I can run about my business around the homestead here, building some other stuff, and all the while it's going to be stockpiling food for our journeys ahead. But hey, I hope you enjoyed today's Bedrock Guide video. If you did, don't forget to like the video, leave me a comment telling me what you loved, and subscribe if you're brand new. And hey, don't go anywhere. There's more Bedrock Guide content on the way.